Every visionary has a story to tell. These stories educate and inspire us all.
You could hear them cranking up in the morning and hear the click, click, click of the roller coaster.
It's really feeling satisfied and feeling gratified with bringing happiness to young children, especially families.
Working with people who are having a good time is so much better than any other job.
Join us as we learn from these trailblazers.
Back in 1955, I was working for an ad agency in LA. I saw an article in the LA Times, probably about April of 55, talking about this amusement park that Walt Disney was building in some godforsaken place called Anaheim, California. Didn't really have any idea exactly where Anaheim was, but in the article, it told that one of the things that Disney was doing, he was having these participants that were going to sponsor attractions and shows and exhibits in the park. And one of the participants was American Motors. And American Motors also was the sole owner of Kelvinator Home Appliances. Kelvinator was one of our clients. I went to my boss. I was the radio TV director at the agency, and I said I'd like to do a promotion with Disneyland. I think it's going to be a hot property, and I think it'd be good for our client. So we talked to Kelvinator. They approved it, that we opened discussions. So I cold called Disney Studio in Burbank. They referred me to a person in Anaheim. I called out there, got a hold of this person. His name was Bud Colson. I finally got to meet Mr. Colson. I told him what I wanted to do, and he said, well, line it out, get a meeting scheduled, come on back, we'll talk about it. So we were all set, and then he got a call from this gentleman named Enter, who said, you can't run the promotion. I said, why? He said, it's off. No, Walt turned it down. I said, wait a minute, you gave us an okay, you signed off on it. We spent probably $4,000 making plates, we placed space, and I'm just not very happy about this. He said, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I said, well, I want to talk to you about it. And he said, okay. I drove back out to Anaheim again, met with him. We had a meeting, lasted about an hour. I think we called each other every nasty name of the book. We went out at it for an hour and a half. We questioned our parentage, we questioned everything. But I was very unhappy with him. He said, nothing we can do. But 3 days later, I get a call from Edinger. He says, I think we can work this out. He said, come out here and back to Anaheim. They approved on the basis that instead of July 18th, we hold it till August, the first Sunday in August. He said Disney didn't want a third party during the promotion opening day. I said, that'll work for us. We can live with that. And then in the middle of August, right after the park opened, I got a call from the same guy. He says, I don't really know anybody in the ad business, but I thought maybe you knew some people that, he said, we're looking for an ad manager. And he said, maybe you could recommend somebody. I said, yeah, I can. He said, who? I said, me. And he said, I'd hope you'd say that. And So for this terrible beginning, he hired me, and I went to work for Disney, and there it went. It certainly wasn't sophisticated, because to be sophisticated, you have to really know what you're doing. And because you're doing something that's never been done before, and you're dealing with something, there's no books you can read because there hasn't been anything like it. And then somebody, I mean, you knew you weren't working for an amusement park, but you didn't know what you were working for. Then somebody, some unknown media genius, wrote in the newspaper that called it a theme park, and that caught on, and it was a whole new word in the lexicon, and but it gave us a different identity to what we were. It's, oh, I know what we're doing, we're a theme park. And I don't think there's been many amusement parks built since then, because everything became a theme park. And the other thing is, you have to remember, when we opened, there were a total of 750 people that worked at Disneyland. That's ride operators, that's maintenance, landscaping, everything. Now there's over 14,000. So, and basically in size, the park hasn't grown a whole lot. It's not like it's 40 times bigger. It's all of it's huge, much denser. But so you knew everybody, first name. That's a good thing about the name tag. You didn't have to remember your names. You spotted somebody and said, oh, hey Jim, how's it going today? You knew everybody that worked in the park. You ate together at lunch. There was no cafeteria. There was a green and white circus tent called Harley's in the parking lot. It was a third-party operation, and you get sandwiches and Cokes and stuff like that. Disney's strength, and the thing that we learned from Walt, was utilize promotion, publicity, other people's advertising budgets, and make any dollars you spent in media or in advertising go much farther. The first personal contact I had with Walt, my boss, Ed Edner, was out of town, and he left me in charge of the, that time it was public relations, because the word marketing hadn't been used. It wasn't until the early 60s when Lever Brothers and Ford Motor Company developed marketing divisions. So we were a public relations division. So I was at my desk, my secretary said, Walt Disney's office is on the phone. I never talked to him. I picked it up, it was Dolores, his secretary. She said, hold on for Walt. Walt comes on the phone. He said, where's Ed? I said, he's out of town on business. And he says, what's your name? I said, Jack. And he said, we're opening Cinderella's castle in about 3 weeks, a walkthrough inside the castle. And Shirley Temple is coming down to be the celebrity that opens it. And he said, I need a page or two of remarks to say before I introduce Shirley. He said, I'd like you to write me something, just type it, send it to the studio. Thank you, hang up. So I take a piece of blank paper, put it in the old Royal, and try to think. And all of a sudden it occurs to you, you're writing for Walt Disney. So I wrote 2 pages of what I don't know, sent it up to the studio, never heard a word back. The day of the dedication, I'm in the city hall, and Walt comes down, we're waiting for Shirley Temple, and he reaches in the pocket and takes out a sheet of paper. I recognize it. And he opens it up and he looks at it, and he says, who wrote this? I said, I did, sir. He didn't say yes, no, or okay. Pulled it up, put it in his pocket. I had no idea how he felt about it. But Shirley Temple arrived, we went up to the castle, went inside, the ceremony began, Walt got up to the podium, reached in his pocket to a sheet of paper, and he read what I wrote word for word. And that was a great moment for me. He must have liked it, or it was so unimportant he didn't care about it, but he didn't change a word, and it made me feel real good. I got the idea for the Mickey Mouse Cornfield flying between Dallas and Los Angeles. We stopped in Dallas coming from Orlando, and over western Texas at about 35,000 feet, you're looking down all those gas fields, big circles. I thought, you know, you put 3 of those circles together, you got a mouse ears. So I got back, started talking to my people. I said, I want you to get me at least a square mile of land. I said, I want to plant something. I want a Mickey Mouse that you could identify from 35,000 feet. I want it on a route from San Francisco to Chicago, Seattle to Chicago, north, south, east, west. They found us a farm, this family, really nice people. In the middle of a drought, it was at the time that so many farms are going bankrupt in the Midwest. But they said they'd work with us, plant a cornfield. And we said, we'll pay all the costs, so you'll come out the same as if you had a successful yield. And we got network television, Life magazine, newspapers around the world covering Cornfield Mickey. I think personally I had the feeling that intuitively I knew he was on the right track. I didn't sit down and say every decision, this is the way, but you just, it's like like your kids. They know what's right and wrong. All you do is get them pointed in that right direction. It's more important to do what's right than do what's going to make the most money. If we do it right, we'll end up making the most money. Well, I started hearing rumbles during the New York World's Fair, because New York World's Fair was a proving ground for the Disney concept. You know, we knew we had a success in California, but all the local or regional experts, the media, the financial community, the academia said, well, sure, it works in California, but that's La La Land. There are a bunch of nuts out there anyway. They'll go for anything. But this is New York. This is Broadway. We're so much more sophisticated. Everything is so much greater. We don't buy this plastic, unreal world. Walt used the New York World's Fair and other people's money to disprove that. We did Carousel of Progress for General Electric, Great Moments for Mr. Lincoln, State of Illinois. It's a Small World for Pepsi-Cola and UNESCO, and the Ford attraction. And We were in the top 4 attractions at the New York World's Fair. So yes, this wonderful, sophisticated Eastern culture accepted the same corny stuff as those silly Californians accepted. There's 2 ways you could go to journalists. Prepare some nice, glossy videotapes. You say all the nice things you want about your product, send it to them, and they'd probably use it. But we felt the thing was we had to get them down here to show them what our product was. Every 3 days, we'd bring journalists in from markets east of Mississippi. We'd bring her for 3 days. We'd turn them loose in the park. And we didn't have to sell it. Didn't have any meetings. We had some social hours, some lunches, informal, and it worked.